Salutations, crustaceans. I'm Lobster, and today we're going to be reviewing the Fender Geddy Lee Signature Jazz Bass, made in Mexico. Let's do this. This is the Fender Geddy Lee Signature Jazz Bass, the made in Mexico one. Now, the original Geddy Lee Signature was made in Japan. I believe it was by FGN, and I think they were Fujigen, and I think there was maybe another factory involved in that at some point in time. There's a long history of the whole made in Japan Geddy Lee signatures and their impeccable build quality. I remember lusting for one when I was in high school in the mid-2000s, and I remember they cost around $629 new back then. And since, I believe, the mid-2010s or so, the price has been $899 for the signature jazz bass. And in around 2012 or 2013, they transitioned from made in Japan to made in Mexico. And this being a 2019 model is the latter. Now, one thing I can say is the made in Mexico versions do feel a bit more mass-produced. That's just my opinion. I find the fit and finish when it comes to small things like pickguard alignment with the control plate not really up to snuff for a now $1,100 instrument. That's right, this bass is now $1,100 brand new. And is it worth it? Well, we're gonna find out today. The Geddy Lee Signature Jazz Bass has an alder body, finished in black, with a white pickguard, two vintage-style Fender pickups, and a volume tone control. You have a badass styled bridge that has a little Geddy Lee signature on it. The original Fender made in Japan Geddy Lee Signature Jazz Bass utilized the Leo Kwan Badass bridge, which is one of the first aftermarket jazz bass bridges that you could get, and it's like a high mass bridge essentially. Now, this bass bridge behind the cat's butt kind of looks like the Badass bridge, though it's not exactly the same. I do have a Badass 3 somewhere in a bag over here, but maybe I'll show you some B-roll of that. Ooh, B-roll! Ooh! Now, this is a passive instrument, so there's no rear routing or battery cavities. However, unlike the made in Japan basses, this made in Mexico one has an ugly circular route underneath the pickguard. And I believe they do that for their mass-produced instruments, just for the way they're CNC'd. So that's one other thing that kind of gets me, because the Geddy Lee Signature for the longest time was known as a, I guess, really high-quality instrument, and moving over to the made in Mexico factory, don't get me wrong, this bass plays very well, but it is not as high-quality feeling, and it's a bit more rough around the edges. Moving on to the neck, this is a maple on maple 20 fret 34-inch scale jazz bass neck with black binding and black blocks. The neck has a gloss finish all around, and the profile I believe is just a standard jazz bass profile. Now, the original Fender Geddy Lee Signature Jazz Bass had an even thinner neck than the standard jazz bass profile. Up at the headstock you have an old school Fender Jazz Bass logo. Around back, you have a Geddy Lee signature, not a real one, a print obviously, and then 4 regular vintage style tuners. Oh yeah, flipping it around reminded me of the weight. This bass is 11 pounds. Yeah, this is a boat anchor. Compared to my FGN, most of my Sires, and pretty much any other jazz bass that I have around here, those are between 9 and 10 pounds, and 11 is quite a heavy bass. Around back, you see a whole lot of nothing because this is a passive instrument. There's no rear route or battery cavity because batteries are not needed here. And you see a standard Fender style 4-screw neck attachment for the standard Fender style neck and body. Now, one really annoying thing about these basses is sometimes they go a little too far with authenticity. And we have the truss rod adjustment underneath the pickguard. What a pain in the butt. That's just like, why are you still doing that? That's right, the little walnut channel that you see up at the headstock is just for show. There's no truss rod cavity up there for adjustment. You have to remove the pickguard. And I think that is kinda lame. But I know you guys are wondering, what does this bass sound like? You guys know what you need to do. Go ahead and pinch that like button so my hand will turn back to normal. mics. So the first thing that I noticed when I plugged this bass in is it is noisy. I'm touching the strings right now and I'm getting some hum with both pickups engaged fully. And when I let go of the strings, the hum gets a bit louder. So yes, the level of care that the made in Japan Geddy Lee signatures are known for has not really carried over into the made in Mexico versions. So even with all that noise, you can't say that at least it doesn't sound good. This bass definitely captures that growly, Geddy Lee tone, at least a little bit. That being said, you probably could get that from any alder-bodied 70s spacing jazz bass with a set of maybe Tom Brantley Geddy Lee signature pickups, and you wouldn't have to shell out the $1,100. Just saying. But anyways, let's go ahead and explore this bass in a little bit more detail. Let's start out with the neck pickup. So these are single coil pickups. We are going to get single coil hum. A lot of jazz basses just utilize single coil pickups because they are hum canceling when they are together. However, if you solo one, you are going to get some hum in a noisy environment. So, yep, here's the neck pickup. Let's go through this quickly. That's a typical jazz bass neck pickup. Let's go ahead and turn the tone down to about 50%. And here's the tone all the way down. Not too shabby. Now let's go ahead and bring in the bridge pickup and take down the neck pickup. So we're soloing the bridge pickup now. Now let's go ahead and turn down the tone to about 50%. And here's the tone down all the way. Oh yeah. Now let's go ahead and bring back both pickups together, and here's the tone at 100%. Yeah, this is a very aggressive sounding jazz bass. It is the pickups that they have here and just the whole combination of parts. However, this is not a unique bass. You can get this elsewhere. I just wanted to throw that out again because the $1,100 that we're getting versus the noise that we're getting here, I would not shell out the $1,100. Just gonna say that early on, but it's still a fun bass. And if you're a huge Rush fan and you want a Geddy Lee Signature jazz bass, I mean, there's no substitute. However, it's $1,100, man. Yeah. Here's the tone at 50%. And here's the tone all the way down. Now I'm going to turn the tone back up and let's see how she slaps. Yeah, I mean, just like Marcus Miller's jazz bass, this has the 70s pickup spacing and you can really get some nice crispy slap tones out of it. Now, before we throw some drums behind this bass, I want to show you another bass that's $500 and shares basically the exact same specs as this bass down to the fingerboard radius. The only thing that you would probably need to swap out is a different bridge and maybe get those Geddy signature pickups if that's what you're after. Let me show it to you. This is my Sire V5. These things are $500. I bought this from a retailer. I did not get this through Sire directly. I'm not endorsed by Sire here. I'm not paid to say any sort of message. It's not a perfect bass. However, it's $500. It shares a lot of the same specs as the Geddy Lee signature, and it has a roasted maple neck. Now, the reason I like these basses so much is because they're a lot more affordable and a great mod platform. You want to throw in the Brantley pickups and a high mass bridge? Sure, you can even throw in some lightweight tuners and still be under the price of the Geddy Lee signature. Are you paying for a headstock logo on both sides? I think so. However, again, the Sire V5 is not a perfect bass, but in my opinion, I think it is a better value than what you're getting for $1,100 with the Fender Made in Mexico Geddy Lee signature. I think you're probably better off looking at a secondhand Made in Japan one and getting much better build quality. And finally, let's go ahead and throw some drums behind this bass. are my final thoughts on the Made in Mexico Fender Geddy Lee Signature Jazz Bass. It's not a bad bass, but at the $1,100 price tag, I would expect more. So would BB. Seriously though, just like the Charvel San Dimas, this bass kind of shows that Fender Made in Mexico attention to detail is kind of hit or miss. And this is more of a miss than a hit in my opinion. Again, it's not a bad bass, but at the $1,100 price tag, I think you can do a lot better for your money. And in my opinion, Fender is kind of pulling an Apple and selling a name versus selling an instrument. I believe I also demonstrated that there are other instruments out there that share almost the exact same specs that you can get for a lot less money, though you don't get the whole Geddy Lee signature and the Fender spaghetti logo or whatever it is. But I personally don't care about that stuff. And once you look past the whole signature deal, you're gonna find an average jazz bass that is jacked up in price. So what am I going to rate the Geddy Lee signature jazz bass? Ugh. I'm gonna rate this bass 2 claws out of 5. It's not a bad sounding bass, it's not a bad playing bass, and it's not a bad looking bass by any means. This is beautiful, it sounds good, and it plays good. But the noisy electronics and the lack of attention to detail, along with the sky-high price tag, make this a hard sell, given that less than a year ago they were $200 less. You can do a lot better for your money. Heck, I only paid $200 more than this brand new price tag for my Rickenbacker. That's right, I paid $1,300 for that, brand new. I didn't get a special deal. This was like early on in the channel. I wasn't anybody special. I was just like, hey, what's your best price on this? And that's what it was. And once you strip away the Fender logo and the Geddy Lee signature, you're just looking at a average import 70s jazz bass and a sky-high price tag for that. Is it worth it? I don't think so. Well, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, everyone. Be sure to like, subscribe, join our Discord, and leave a comment down below and let me know what you think about the Fender Made in Mexico Geddy Lee Signature Jazz Bass. And as always, until we groove again,